myself. So the only Halloween reference here is that I am going to read one poem from a manuscript that I've been sitting on. I may have read from it the last time, but I've never read this poem, for better or for worse. And it's about bones. So let's just say that I'm writing about the skeleton. So that's as Halloween as we're going to get. But so these poems are based very loosely on Gray's Anatomy, much of which I don't understand. So part of the intrigue for me is taking what I don't understand and turning it into something that's coming from me. And I try to understand it, and I look up words, but then I often forget them after I've looked them up. So I have words in some of the poems in this manuscript that I still don't know what they mean. I have to keep looking them up. This poem is called Ossification of the Bones of the Hand. So ossification is about the process of turning into bone. Ossification proceeds in the following order. In the distillation of the glittering cabs of rain, in the distant slope, in the cat scraping his box, in the cat's paws on his way past the chair, in the lamp heat, in the lesser multangular, about the 10th year, in the key, in the lock, Cossack plaid dyke outer shirt, scrubs en route from work, in the settled music of plain light, in the maples overreach, in the elm's consistency during the year of our house, in the pisiform, in the dull sight of wind, in the fluttering through cloth, fanfold blinds, ragged edges, in who is running for president, in the lunate, in the water, and the setting sail from the ports of New York, and the harbor seals, and the man-made islands for cholera and yellow fever, for the immigrants landing and dying there, for the harbor seals setting themselves on the bunkers of concrete, for the night herons and osprey, for the terns on a rudder, and the bufflehead ducks by the abandoned factory, not far from the ruins of the smokestack of a crematorium, from the clocked bodies and the lost in transit, from the old country for the new, for the former preceding the latter, for the boat-shaped bone, the navicular, for the journey, little pockets of bread, for what you sew in the seams of your coat. So that last line is a reference to something I've heard from other people with immigrant families. They smuggle their money over by sewing it in the seams of their coat. My own relatives were Russian immigrants and came through Ellis Island. But there's also, sorry, I should have said all this before I read the poem. There's also an Audubon boat that takes you out and shows you, and kind of, well, the harbor seals are coming back down into the waters of I guess the East River because of the climate warming, and I think there's some other reasons why they're coming down, but so they'll take you out on this boat in the middle of winter, and you can see seals sunning themselves on the ruins of these old man-made structures in the middle of the river. So it's quite a sight. So I think I'll read one other poem from that manuscript. And this is the calcaneus heel bone. A mute bone for walking. Love, there is nothing there and everything. The morning's whistle, Gray's gray illustrative, smooth as a groomed mare, a girth connecting 6 surfaces, the calcaneus, talus, cuboid, navicular, and the first, second, and third cuneiforms. And I do not meet the alphabet, though what is bone writing bone, though what is trodden, though what is spent, though what is the articulate, what groove and what protrusion, what earth that you walk out in the piebald light on your heels, in the green nook and path from the red stairs to the stones through the catmint and wild oregano. For what else can it be? Be it the bone passing itself, first one, then the other, to a day you are frowning upon, for day, work, a little exercise in the car, pressing the gas, listening to her second CD. You bought the first, then thought, I'll get used to this, because you do not always love each song the first time around, as the maple sends its baby leaves sunward, though what is contained in fire equals fire. Through the window of 1,000 origami cranes, 300 cranes, 400 cranes, and again, my work frowns. Though if all I could do was to fold cranes, I too would love the flex of paper. Though it isn't like that, so keep everything contained. Do not tell your colleagues exactly what you think. You never tell, just stop enough to feel each breath. Just breathe into your heels. Imagine you can message bone. So I'm going to read now 2 recent poems that I think may be the end of this particular bone manuscript. And these are pandemic poems. And everything else that's going on in the world poems. So this is called List of Things I Need in Order to Live. I would need the leaves to redden and crisp. I would need the blackened juice at the base of a petal. I would need this season against the other seasons to unlearn me. I would need the brutal to decay in their uselessness. This is not what we have. I would need you, and I would worry when you go for routine surgery. I would need my mask in the deciduous lineup of trees, hot water, soap, and Netflix. I would need you to observe the tiniest incident on a stone. I would need your list of meds. I would pull the splinter from a cat. One day I would need to be alone, and the other I would not. You would need to be a woman dressed as a boy. 20 times I would revise my identity to describe me. Cis, dyke, bi, lesbian, pansexual. Water and honey in the mug. Leftover matcha tea from the tea of the month for a price which you discover in the bills. I would need to be irresponsible with money. I would need uncertainty. I would need to lean across difference. I would need to hold a riddled body in my arms to imagine the body without touching the body or calling myself anything but white. I would need a collage of simultaneous events, Adderall and something for dreaming, the obscurity of snow on the TV. I would need the cradle bones. And the second part, list of things in order that I need in order to live, part 2. I'll finish with a negligent mind, a capacity to feel aloft, a vestigial wing spying on a wing, and my twin, who is terribly different than me. Her things lie around. Her pillow has lumps in the shape of her body. I want to drop it out the window one night all the way to the path when she isn't looking, until her pennies fall back in her wallet and my very own clothes fold condo style and sit in their slots. And then I need remorse. You are not my twin. You replicate the moon. I go round and around until your whiteness resolves into olive and patchouli and scrubs. I need to worship your round surface of Lebanese Italian weight. By day, I need to see the white moths flirting above the window box until I name them after my grandparents who would love one another and die. If I see them loop and diverge and flutter as a pair, they are mine. I need them to be Leon and Pauline. I need to wash my hands and look out again on the moths freed from their chrysalis of eternal Jewish sleep. I need to learn how to change thoughts, defund the police, abolish prisons. I need to speak about this. I need to know how to change and how to move with those intellects of moths I have willed into ghosts so many times, with the accomplishments of knowledge, for I need to be the couple, the scientist and the social worker entwined, both writers of Yiddish and letters, correspondents of meticulous words. How she would tell me to focus on what I can change. I need to stay home again and again to save myself. I need to stare at the fuchsia center of coleus that blazes outside the window in a box of dirt surrounded by veins. I need to see living things, to learn decluttering, to glance again at the moths climbing in sunlight, the color of paper endlessly transparent above the unblooming lilac and tones of green slowly orbiting a month when the flowers die. I need their slow unbecoming, their drift into dried wedding gowns and spider webs and carcasses of petals effacing pinks when October loves us. Thank you.
I guess you can, everyone can unmute themselves if you want to just clap for everyone. That was so beautiful. Thank you everyone so much for reading and for listening and for having just a moment of community when we're all so scattered and far away from each other. I want to do this again, I think on the winter solstice. So maybe there'll be some different readers, maybe there'll be some the same, we'll see. And yeah, that was really great. And thank you so much. I'm going to try putting this on YouTube at some point. Keep your eyes open for that.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Joanna.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you, Joanna.
For organizing.
everybody.
Great to see everybody.
Joanna.
Nice.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Joanna.
Good to
Everybody
see
stay
you
well.
all.
Thank you.
Stay safe.